And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel guys, hope you're all well. Before we do get into today's video, as always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. Guys, of course, in today's video we're going to be touching upon what happened yesterday as Rangers beat Ayr United, Scott Brown's Ayr United, as we progress into the next round of the Scottish Cup. And also go over, of course, some big Rangers Champions League news. So yeah, some quite exciting bits and pieces to go over, but of course, starting with the game yesterday, of course, Rangers keeping their winning run going, and after beating Ayr United, goals from Barisic and of course Silva, but yeah, a decent routine performance. Not really going to, I never really thought it was going to be a stumbling block for us, of course, at Ibrox against a sort of lesser team. Again, yes, a bit of history of sort of Scott Brown, but listen, the job was done and we progress into the next round of the Scottish Cup. One more game away, of course, from getting to Hampden once again, going into the quarterfinals. The draw will probably be made later today after all the games have been concluded. But yeah, we booked our place, and as I said, we're still fighting on all four fronts. Man of the match, of course, was Oscar Cortez as well, which was also good to see. I've been stating, I think in a previous video, I did state that, of course, his impact thus far has been pretty impressive, even though he was just getting himself up to speed, but also from the fact that we were hearing from our sources that Rangers staff were amazed by what they've started to see in training, and it's great to see him making an instant impact. At Rangers, we rarely get players that make an instant impact, to be perfectly honest with you, so great to see him hitting the ground running, and of course playing very, very well and getting player of the match against Ayr United. But as stated, we've got our eyes on the prize, ladies and gentlemen, and that is the Scottish Cup, so we're going to be looking to try and get that one, but into the quarter-final, which is absolutely beautiful to see, and also at Scott Brown's expense as well, which is also fantastic. Next up for us, of course, though, we are back to sort of domestic action, and it almost feels that no mistakes can be made. We've obviously got a game against we've got a game at Ibrox on Wednesday against Ross County before taking on St Johnstone at the weekend. But games are coming thick and fast, guys. We're literally playing twice a week, and it's going to be the case as we got the Europa League coming back to us as well very, very soon. So imperative that we do win all our games, but yeah, take it a game at a time. But at this moment in time, we're still in all three competitions, and we're aiming to try and win all three competitions. Now, following, if we do win the league title, we spoke about going into the Champions League, of course, probably for one more year only. As Scottish champions are going to be getting a instant access into the Champions League, and why it's so special this year is because it's a revamp, to be honest, of how the Champions League has worked in recent years. We already know that, you already know that it's going to be a league phase, the Swiss model. There's going to be 2 extra games, so there's 8 games now you're sort of guaranteed within the Champions League, and naturally the income goes up. But we've started to get, well, thanks to multiple sources throughout Italy, we've started to get an idea of just how much this could actually be, and why Rangers could be set to land a lot of money, more than what Celtic would be getting if they won the league, due to the way that this has been run recently. So I'm going to go over just how the finances of the new sort of Champions League is going to be working, and why Rangers would be due quite a lot of money, and a lot more money than Celtic, if they do win the league and get the Champions League this year. So yeah, we now have a better idea of just how much the impact of qualification will be, as UEFA have stated. The conservative estimate for total men's club competition revenue is a massive 4.5 billion euros. That's up from 3.5 billion euros this year. Although they do caveat these figures should be treated with caution due to the sales process still ongoing and contracts yet to be concluded for some important markets. Not all of the 4.5 billion euros will be distributed to the competing clubs, as there are several deductions that must be accounted for first. For example, UEFA's own cut, of course, increases with the organisational costing rising from 323 million euros to 387 million euros, and the money reserved for the European football to remain with UEFA increasing from 188 million euros to 230 million euros. In promising news for all Scottish clubs, firstly, the money for clubs eliminated in qualifying will rise 25% from €105 million to €132 million. The solidarity payments, money awarded to all clubs that don't participate in the league phase football, goes up to a massive 120% from €140 million to €308 million. This should mean as much as £1.5 million for every SPFL club that doesn't reach a European league phase next season. That still leaves a massive €3.3 billion available for the competing clubs, with Champions League clubs taking a massive 75% of the funds, with the Europa League receiving only 17%, and then the Conference League is thrown relative crumbs amounting to only 8% of the total. On an individual club basis, the money within each competition is split into 3 distribution streams. That, of course, being starting payment, equal for clubs in the competition, performance-related payment, money earned per point in the group stage and for progression through the competition, and then lastly the new formed value stream, which is merger for the previous 10-year coefficient plus TV market pool streams. Looking at the first, at the starting fee, money shared equally by all teams before a ball is kicked. This is expected to rise by 20% in the Champions League from €15.64 million to €18.84 per club. This is compared with the estimated Europa League starting fee increasing from only €3.63 million to €4.31 million, while the Conference League starting fee sees the smallest rise from €2.94 million to around €3.16. Moving on to the second stream, the performance-related fixed amount, which will receive the biggest overall rise of 54% in the Champions League. Despite this huge increase, the amount per group stage win for each club will actually decrease due to the number of group stage matches also increasing by 50% from 96 to 144. A win will now be worth €2.1 million, a draw will be €0.7 million, but each club will have 8 matches instead of 6 to try and put points on the board and money in the bank. La Gazzetta dello Sport in Italy are reporting every single team in the Champions League will receive an additional payment depending on where they finish in the 36-team league. First to 8th place is expected to receive €2 million, while everyone from 9th to 36th will receive an extra €1 million. There's also believed to be a payment linked to placement in national championships, with the clubs receiving an additional between €1 million and €10 million. That essentially takes the starting payment to more than €20 million per club, even if they finish last with 0 points. That's more than Rangers received for the reaching the Europa League final, and there's still another distribution stream on top of this. The last of the 3 streams is the new value stream, which is also have less weighting this year, 35%, so that there is less reward for historical performance and country's TV market. La Gazzetta dello Sport believes that it will include a complex ranking system of the 36 teams based on the national market pool and the individual club's coefficient over the last 5 years. There will be 36 shares, with the top ranked team receiving around €37 million and the bottom ranked team only share about €1 million. This will be especially good news for Rangers, who should end this season at least 26th in the 5-year coefficient, whereas Celtic will end no higher than 69th. This is why Rangers' guaranteed earnings could massively exceed Celtic's, as Rangers could realistically expect to be in the top half of this ranking methodology and should receive anywhere between 10 to 20 million euros, whereas Celtic would be lower down this ranking and so expect to earn somewhere around 5 million. Notably, for Rangers will also be the first season where they have ranked above Celtic in the 10-year coefficient for over a decade. However, this 10-year coefficient aspect will much reduce now, where the top-ranked team will now receive only 10 million euros and the bottom-ranked team will only receive 300,000k. So it will be likely only to be worth a couple of million euros to either club. So our teams, before a match has been played, will likely bank anywhere between 25 to 40 million euros. You can add another 20 million euros on top of that if you were able to progress to the last 16. This is just the finances received directly from UEFA too. There is also a knock-on impact on all other revenue streams when competing in the Champions League compared to the Europa League. For example, Celtic participated in the Europa League in 2021-22 and then the Champions League the following season. This saw an £8 million increase in matchday revenue and a £6 million rise in commercial income, as their overall turnover rose by 32 from 88 to 120. With only a third of the 36 teams eliminated after the league phase instead of the current 50%, coupled with our teams playing 2 games against pot 4 sides instead of the 0 games that Celtic had this season, the opportunity for Celtic or Rangers to be more competitive in Europe's Premier competitions have significantly increased. So there you go, guys. I hope that was made sense to you ever so slightly. Of course, it is super imperative this year in terms of getting into the Champions League, just because of our coefficient, and winning the league would actually be worth more. Everyone always used to say that £40 million handshake that Rangers could get or Celtic could get from winning the Scottish Premiership, but that's closing to more being likely €60 million. And especially we need to make the most of getting that automatic place that we've worked for over the last few years and actually getting the reaps for our awards. The Scottish coefficient is plummeting, so it probably is the last year where our champions actually do go in on an automatic space. So it's one of them, and hopefully Rangers can reap those benefits, but they definitely should, most definitely. But anyway, either way, guys, Rangers fans, do let me know your thoughts on the finances that are with the new Champions League phase system, and also do let me know your thoughts on the win against Ayr. And do you think we'll win the Scottish Cup? Yes or no? Let me know down there in the comment section below. That brings us to the end of today's video. As always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Peace.